So any of you guys who've been following me for a while have probably realised that I'm slightly obsessed with this chap, Tom Brady. And the reason is simple, is because I think he provides us the model for peak performance in our kite surfing. Simply put, he at 40 was performing better than he was at 25. Now, for those of you who don't know him, Tom Brady's quarterback of the Patriots, been to the Super Bowl 8 times now, won it something like 5 times, possibly the greatest player in American football at the moment, or indeed one of the greatest ever. And over the last 5 years, he's now 40, and over the last 5 years, he's been getting better. Every year they run a battery of tests in the American Football League. And every year for the last 5 years, he's been getting better. Since the age of 35, he's been getting better across the board on these tests. So he's provided me as a model for, how on earth do we do this? Because normally, from 35, we accept that things are going to start getting worse. So I had a look at what did Tom do specifically to change things around so massively. Because the other thing you've got to realise about Tom is at 25, he was a fairly mediocre quarterback. And now at 40, he is the absolute rock star quarterback of the NFL. Now, this led me down a trail. And the number one rule in performance training is the law of individual differences. Simply put, the first thing you should know about me is that I'm not you. And a lot more will make sense after that. But what happens most of the time is we try and fit a generic program to a unique individual, and it just doesn't work. To achieve what Tom achieved, you have to have a program that is specifically adapted to your unique biology. People's biochemistry is so unique that what works for one person will almost certainly not work for the next. And this is why there's so much confusion over diet if you look on the internet. As literally one diet may be perfect for one person, but it may literally kill the next. What Tom did was found a way to match his lifestyle and training to his unique biochemistry. And as we said, it took him from a very average quarterback at 25 to the master at 40. Now, I know a lot of you have probably sat there saying, but I've tried this fitness plan, I've tried that diet, I've tried this miracle cure that the internet threw up at me, and it didn't work. I think you're about to have an aha moment. So follow me down this road less travelled, and I want to show you exactly what Tom did and exactly what you can do to have the same results. We'd never go to the doctor and say, doctor, I feel all right, but I want to feel awesome. I want to hit the water every single time and bring it 150%. And to be fair, if you did go to a doctor and say that, the doctor wouldn't be able to help you. And this isn't a bash against doctors, it's just that doctors aren't trained for that. Because unless you are showing actual symptoms that generally have to show up as out of range for the normal population, they literally don't have the training to deal with you. Now, I know a lot of you again saying, look, but I'm not ill, I don't need to go and see a doctor. I know that, but have you ever thought that things could be better? That you could have more energy, that you could sleep better, that you could lose a few pounds, that you could just have more lust for life, or that you could hit the water with 100% energy and power, staying like that all session, hitting the flow state again and again and again, every single time you go kite surfing. You see, by 30, most of us are already operating at about 50%. Now, this isn't old age like your friends tell you. This is just like a car. I like to use the metaphor of a car. If you bought a car and didn't do any work on it, after several years, you would expect that car to be operating at a lot less percentage than its potential. If you lovingly maintained it every year, replaced parts that wore out, put some upgrades in, now you could potentially have a better car several years after you'd bought it, or at least a car of the same level. But this is what happens to us during our life normally. We're born at 100% performance, and as we go through life, doing things that we shouldn't, not exercising, not looking after ourselves, generally our performance declines until eventually we pop off this mortal coil. So for most of us, getting old, we have two choices. We either accept this slow decline into death, or we decide to do something about it. Now, that normally takes the form of trial and error. We do fitness plans, we do diet fads, we supplement, all of which costs us time and money and often gets us nowhere. Why? Because there's so much conflicting information out there that it's impossible often to know where to even start. What if there was a third way? What if we could interrupt that decline and restore you back to 100% performance? Or as near as damn it. But again, I can hear you saying in your head, but you're not listening, Sam, you're not listening. I'm not ill. Okay, so what factors are we talking about here? What factors are we talking about that decline that you may notice? Weight gain or inability to shift weight, energy slumps, particularly in the afternoon, or just a general lack of energy, an illness that keeps us off the water or a repeated illness, aches and pains, an inability to just bring it like we used to, lack of muscle gain, a loss of aggression. And I don't mean aggression in the kind of go and beat someone up. I mean that aggression to go out there and really, really pull the trigger on the tricks that you're trying to do. An injury or a stubborn refusal to heal, or just less lust for life, just more apathy, just everything's much more effort to go and do. Generally, the things that we're told by our mates that are just us getting old and that we just have to accept. What we need to realise is that these performance factors, as we want to call them, are not the problem. They are the result of the problem. And the problem is underlying dysfunction. And it's these factors that are destroying your performance on the water, or at least inhibiting your performance on the water. To eliminate these factors, we have to find and eliminate the root cause. And only then can we get you up to 100% performance, jumping higher, ripping harder, and being the envy of the beach, if that's what you want, or just feeling 100%. So I want to introduce this new way of looking at performance to try and explain and break down what I've just been talking about and to show you exactly what Tom did in detail. So let's take it, you've got your body operating as a system. When it operates as a system at 100% function, you have a state of ease, which leads to a state of 100% performance. What tends to happen is somewhere in that system we generate a dysfunction. This then leads to a cascade effect, which leads to dis-ease in the body, which then leads to symptoms, or what we can call these performance inhibitors. Now again, what you need to realise here, in our modern world, symptoms are common. They are never normal. It is always a sign of an underlying malfunction. Always, always, always. So what happens? Okay, we start self-medicating. Caffeine, paracetamol, painkillers, antidepressants, fad diets, prescription drugs, surgery, just to try and get some relief from these symptoms. And it may temporarily ease the symptoms. It may do. But it does nothing to treat the root cause, which is this dysfunction. And what you've got to realise is that dysfunction may have nothing to do with the symptom itself. And in fact, this treatment, this medication, this whatever we're doing to alleviate the symptoms often makes things worse because it leads to more imbalance in the body, leading to worsening symptoms or totally new symptoms. So what do? What did Tom do? He identifies and removes the root cause, eliminates the dysfunction in the system, restores the system, the body, to 100% function. This restores the body to a state of ease, and this restores the body to 100% performance. If you're interested to learn more about how you can get yourself to 100% performance, we run a webinar on this most weeks. The link is in the show notes. Click the link, sign up to the webinar, and I'll speak to you on that call. As always, guys, if you enjoyed that, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.